Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we set up our satellite in orbit of Dres. I actually don't remember if we got that completed or not. We'll double check that in a moment. I think we did. But we see this flag on Duna contract. That's super easy. Super easy. Science data from surface of Dres is something that's going to happen. It expires in 30 years. Okay, so that'll be absolutely fine. We'll definitely grab that. Surface deployed seismic sensor science from the surface of Dres. Dres is not tectonically active, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think we're going to do that one. Anything else here that we're interested in? No, that looks good for now. So let's go ahead and hop out of here. Double check our ComSat over Dres. I'm pretty sure we got it to be correct. Let's see here. This can be terminated. That junk is no longer needed. Yeah, this is fine. I'm not concerned about that. So let's hop back, and obviously our transfer window could have been better to Dres, as evidenced by the amount of braking delta V we needed. But let's go ahead and hop into the VAB here, and let's think about what happens to our colony's delta V. If we, so we want this is going to be, at this point, the Duna outpost, but we're going to modify it to be the Dres outpost. So this will be the Dres outpost. There we go. We'll go ahead and save that. What happens if we modify this? I was thinking about having it land on a nuclear engine. I think that's going to be too tall. Realistically. I don't think that's going to be an option. We do not need the parachutes, so we're going to get rid of the parachutes. Those are obvious dead weight at this point. Okay, so we've got this stage 1 here. So in orbit around Kerbal, stage 1 has how much delta V? 807 at 0 altitude, but at top altitude 3307. I feel like this is probably enough, but just barely. Just barely. How would we want to go about boosting it? Well, lowering weight here would go a long ways towards that. There's a lot of weight here. So hypothetically, if there was no weight in that, 8032. Okay, so this is, of course, delta V positive, but I really want to think about some sort of a hypothetical way to eliminate this engine, but I don't think such a thing really exists. Honestly, if our transfer window is just slightly better in terms of when we arrive there, this should be enough. Really. It really should. But maybe if we added just a tiny bit more power down here, but throttled these down. So here's what I'm thinking right now. This is probably a terrible idea. This is objectively a terrible idea. Okay, that's not going to work. What if we... no, that's even worse. Okay. Nope, that's not going to be a thing. I'd like to get a little bit more power into this thing, ultimately. But one thing we could do is extra fuel for the nuclear engine. We wouldn't want to lift it with this launch. Let's get this into orbit and evaluate from there what we want to do. So we need a scientist and an engineer in here. Let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to go need to hire a scientist. That is definitely necessary. So let's go hire ourselves a scientist. We're going to try to launch this out to Dres. We know we had quite a bit of extra delta V to Duna, but that inclination change is a lot of delta V. This is not the facility I wanted. Astronaut complex. There we go. So we need a scientist. There we go. Only the one scientist available right now. Exciting. Okay, so we're going to head over to the VAB. And let's prepare to launch this. If we need to send up a refueling, hypothetically, we can go to the fuel delivery machine. And this thing, instead of delivering liquid fuel plus oxidizer, actually only needs to deliver liquid fuel now. So we can save a lot of weight here by dropping this oxidizer. And that would be a good thing. So let's go ahead and open up the Dres outpost. Let's put our Kerbals in. So we're going to be bringing Obster and how about Timbre? Cool. We'll save and launch. So yeah, the real question that we have now is, how much fuel are we going to be short, if any? We may not be short any fuel, but we'll evaluate once we get up there. I think we just need to find a better transfer window, is all we need here. I'm pretty sure that'll do the trick. Going further, it's going to be interesting trying to propel this much mass, but we'll throttle up, SAS on, and off we go. Boy, that felt slow off the pad. I don't know why. That just felt really, really slow off the pad. We're going to start heading on over this direction. We do have that little bit of roll that we picked up, which is to be expected. Getting that under control, and let's just lock to prograde for right now. Cool. Okay, so that definitely did feel slower off the pad, and I'm not entirely sure why, but it should be fine. Absolutely fine. In theory. So up we go here. Apoapsis height of about 10 kilometers right now. We're not going all that fast. Cool. 14 kilometers apoapsis height now. We're moving at about 400 meters per second. We're just going to stay locked to prograde here until after our SRBs detach, for sure. This is kind of insane down here already. No doubt about that. We'll probably want to reconfigure this later. As we're looking to go to Joule, this is probably going to be a little bit not quite enough. We'll see how that ends up going. We can also have strap-on tanks up here that can be detached for the liquid fuel. That's a potential option to propel us further. And actually, I think that's not a terrible idea. Okay, so our SRBs are going to be detaching soon. And off they go. Cool. We're still seeing these atmospheric effects here, so we're going to continue burning here for a little bit. But I would very much like to make our way over to the horizon. We should be able to manage that at this point. Cool. We want purely horizontal speed now. And we'll just chill right around here. There we go. Purely horizontal speed. Once again, we're pushing this up to about 100 kilometers. It'll be fine. Excellent. Okay, so our horizontal speed is a little on the low side. No doubt about that one. But we have a little bit more horizontal burn to do here. We're definitely going to have a coast phase. We knew that that would be the case. Absolutely. So there's 100 kilometers, and let's prepare for this burn. We'll add in this maneuver, and what are we looking at for delta V there? Yeah, that's about what I expected. Okay. So prepare for that. We should extend a solar panel, of course. Now. There we go. Get these solar panels extended. And we are getting set up for this burn. Yeah, I think additional strap-on fuel tanks up here isn't the worst idea. If we're going further. For right now, it's not going to really be a thing. And the real question is, how are we going to lift it off? That's going to be interesting. Very interesting indeed. We're going to need more liftoff power if we're going to do that. But we'll start our circularization burn here in about 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, cool. So this is going to burn most of this side tank fuel, right? Definitely not all of it, but most of it. What if we were to lift those tanks empty and refuel them on orbit? That's a potential option. That wouldn't add all that much mass, but it would add potentially a lot of extra fuel capacity. Okay, this is good enough for our orbit. Looks good. And we need to evaluate at this point, do we want to bring up additional fuel right now? We do have space in these side tanks for liquid fuel. It's a theoretical option. We're seeing 3296 meters per second here. So if we were to do that, we would move this guy up, and all we would do is bring in some fuel delivery and put it into these tanks here, right? We've got about 5,000 meters per second here. Let's look at our back of the envelope numbers. So, bare minimum, we know an encounter will be 2,000. We know curb and escape will be 900. Inclination change will be 900. So call that 4,000 right there. And then braking. Braking may or may not use up all of this. And it will definitely use up all of this. So I think it's very clear at this point that we do need more fuel. Okay. So let's go ahead and not revert this. I want to go back to the Space Center. We'll bring up a refueling mission here quick. All we're going to do is bring up our liquid fuel rocket, right? So we're just going to grab our fuel delivery machine, and we're going to change it a little bit here. Any moment now, we'll load this on in. And we'll go into the VAB. We're going to make a few modifications to our fuel delivery vehicle. Any moment now. There we go. So we're going to open that on up, the fuel delivery machine. There we go. And I'm definitely making changes here. Change number 1. We are ditching this Poodle engine. That also means that we can ditch this decoupler. Change number 2. This mainsail is being dropped in favor of a small nuclear engine. Now, we would be better served, if we're going somewhere with this, to run the large nuclear engine. But we're going to run the small one, because I would very much prefer to not have it be mega tall. And this should have enough to do what we need it to do, I think. What is the thrust to weight on stage 0 here? 0.05. Okay, yeah, well, that's to be expected. We've got a lot of unnecessary oxidizer here. All we're looking to deliver is liquid fuel, right? So we drop all of this oxidizer. That saves a huge amount of mass. That's roughly half of the mass of the rocket that we just dropped right there. These will, of course, be gone by the time we get there. Or will they? Stage 1 has a lot of DV in it on its own. I'm wondering if we even need an engine on here, but it's very clear that this tail fin can get moved over to be out here, right? That's very, very obvious. And we can just move it up slightly to be at roughly the same height it was before. So we can do something like that as a slight weight savings. Otherwise, what do we need on this? I think that largely covers it. We could toss in a couple of really cheap solar panels just to make sure that we don't run out of power. Not even that big. Yeah, like these guys. Really, really cheap solar panels. Cool. This is still a pretty expensive fuel delivery, right? No doubt about that. But there's a lot of fuel here. We can also see that this is 10,000 delta V. So, that's quite a thing. But the fuel itself is the payload. So that'll be fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and save this and launch it. We're going to rendezvous it on up. I do think that we're going to want some additional fuel. One additional fuel delivery should be enough, and we'll add on some strap-on tanks for the later missions. Nuclear engines are absolutely the way to go as we get further out from the sun, and that'll be fine. We're not going to bother with something like ion propulsion. That's just right out. There's not enough electrical generation out there. So we'll throttle this on up, SAS on, and off we go. Cool. So we're just heading largely straight up here, and our thrust to weight is lower, but that takeoff seemed faster for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe I'm just feeling the momentum or something. But we definitely need to start heading over here on our gravity turn. So let's pull this right on over. Being slightly aggressive with it. We didn't time this or anything. But all we're aiming for right now is 70 kilometers. So that'll be fine. We'll just lock to prograde. We want to be underneath the target, the target object, right? Are we too aggressive with this gravity turn? That's a hard maybe. I'm going to pop over into stability assist here, and we're just going to hold here. Slightly more on the horizontal speed than the vertical speed, but we do need to get that verticality up there. Cool. So Apoapsis' height is looking at about 25 kilometers as of right now. Once it goes to 40, we'll go back to prograde. Okay, back to prograde we go. Beautiful. We're a bit of a fireball right now. No doubt about that one. And I'm going to push this up to like 75. There we go. We're now entering a coast phase. And we are going to look at circularizing that. It's a little too much. I think the timing is slightly off here. It's a little better. It'll do. It'll do. So now we're going to head over to the maneuver node here. And that'll be just fine. It looks like... Actually, I'm going to reset this. Okay. We'll try this again. There, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I like that. Cool. So we'll hop to the maneuver node here. And we're not out of the atmosphere yet, so for the moment, I'm going to physics warp as we head on over. We're struggling to turn this thing back. We can't physics warp yet. Or rather, time warp. There we go. And now we're going to head back. Commencing this burn in about 25 seconds, but we should physics warp our way back over. We're not quite going to be there. So I'm going to just commence a small burn here. There we go. Okay, perfect. That burn was just to get us reoriented. Okay. So this is going to basically burn out these tanks, right? That's basically ideal. We still have 43 meters per second left in them. Let's stop that tumble and start heading back to prograde. We now need to, of course, set the Dres outpost as our target. We're off by 0.3, but let's just dial this in and find ourselves a reasonable encounter. This is obviously not it. I want to grab this, check out... No, that's not what I wanted. Get back there. I want to just find some reasonable timing here. Looks like we're going to have to wait in orbit. Maybe even 2. Yeah, 2 orbits. That's fine. So what is this separation? 3.8 kilometers. I see 1.8. That's good enough. Okay, we'll align to that maneuver node. And, I mean, this is going to be way, way too much thrust, right? We're going to thrust limit these guys down to 0.5. This is still going to be way too much thrust, I think. Well, that's a 1 minute 30 second burn. So actually, we'll try thrust limiting them down to about 10%. How's that? That's a 4 second burn. Okay, we'll go down to like 5%. And I believe there's one more. Yep, there we go. So that's a 9 second burn. Okay, let's go ahead and warp to it. Fantastic. So we're just getting ready for that warp position, right? Oh, we are not in position for this burn. Well, we'll head over there. I'm going to commence a very small burn here to help us turn. Okay. So we're on our way over. We've got about 15 seconds before this burn. I should have gotten us aligned before we warped. That's my own fault. But we're on our way over. We'll get there eventually. 3, 2, 1, mark. Yeah, we're really struggling to turn here. This isn't shocking, but we're really struggling to turn. Okay. Just bringing this up a bit. And let's get turning. Wow, we just can't turn. I mean, this isn't shocking. I'm going to turn RCS on. And we'll try to start heading over there. But man, it'll be a lot better once this is detached. We just hold position here. We just can't go over. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Burning RCS here. There we go. Okay, how close is that? 7.1 kilometers. Shockingly, it's close enough. So we're going to go to target retrograde, and we're going to warp to about here, like 4 minutes before. Cool. We don't have much for maneuver. No doubt about that. And we're going to physics warp our way over towards target retrograde. This thing just doesn't like to turn. And that's our problem every time we do this. That's something we should probably think about addressing. Realistically. I assumed it would be better with this not having oxidizer. And I think this is better. But it's not good. Exactly. Okay, there's target retrograde. Fantastic. Gonna arm the advanced grabbing unit. And let's see here. Retrograde pushes the node. Prograde pulls. So we need to be all the way over here. That's going to be exciting. You know what? Maybe we just kill this velocity for right now. No, I don't love it. How much do we have left for monoprop? We do have some. Or we have quite a bit, actually. So let's monoprop our way over here. Cool. Okay. Yeah, we're pushing this the wrong way. I'm very dumb. We didn't need to come here. We need to go to the other side of retrograde. Wow. I can't believe I just did that. I'm very, very dumb. I was thinking about this entirely backwards. Okay. So we're on our way over towards retrograde right now. And we'll just freeze it here. There we go. And we want to push the retrograde node here over to the target marker. Okay, there's this gone. So off it goes. And we're on the nuclear engine now, which is fine. So we're just going to pull this on over. We're going to burn very little on the nuclear engine, I'm sure. Okay. That's reasonably close. So let's make our way on over here. And how close are we going to be at this point? This is saying 4.5 kilometers. I'm not sure that's true. Okay, so we're heading over towards target retrograde here. We need to do another corrective burn and come in a little bit closer. Come on, monoprop. Get us on over. Cool. Okay, doing a corrective burn. Freezing physics. And then doing the corrective burn. Cool. Okay. So we're basically idle, right? At this point, we need to get docked up. It is time to put the cut in here, and we've done this a million times. So I'm just going to maneuver us on in very gently here off camera. We'll have this docked up and ready to go by the time the next episode starts. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisil, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.